Yeah, yeah, hey, yeah, hey, yeah, hey, yeah. Turning up, this is how it starts. Live moments created hard. From small town stages to the mainline drives. Dog danced in the am, John Candy live. If it's live, we bring the vibe. This is John Candy live. Candy live. If it's live, we bring the vibe. This is John Candy live. Candy live.
Okay. See, look at it. We're just figuring stuff out right away.
Oh yeah.
So I mean, we're podcasting, we're rolling, we're good.
Okay.
We're dialed in. So, how did you guys get into air conditioning business? So, I mean, we're talking about podcasting and doing that for the business. How did you get into it?
So I'll start from the very beginning. Roger Holder Sr., which is my grandpa, my dad's dad. He went to the military in Vietnam. He unfortunately lost his eye in Vietnam. He got medically discharged. Getting out of the military, he got healed up, and he decided to, do something for a living. And so he got in the air conditioning trade. I don't know what company he worked for at the time, but he didn't own his own company at the time. But he worked for someone, and I honestly don't know how many years he worked for someone. But one day, I think he decided, instead of working for someone, I'm going to do my own thing, and to create more free time for him and his kids. And my grandpa was in drag racing, and so that opened up the more free time to where he can kind of set his own schedule. He can go BMX racing with my dad, go drag racing when they wanted to. And I think the main reason why he wanted to open his own company, from my understanding, is to have more freedom. And when you're working for someone, you're locked into a schedule.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
I think that was his main reason of why he wanted to open his own business. And so in 1987, I believe the year is when he opened Holder's Air Conditioning, owned it for many, many years. And 2004 was the time that my parents decided to open their own AC company.
Okay.
And the way that worked was my grandpa had his. He was in the retirement age. He was still working even after my parents opened Holder's Air Conditioning as well.
Uh-huh.
And he was working for my parents in a way. And he was a service technician. And so in 2004, parents opened their business, named it the same name as him, that Holder's Air Conditioning, Holder's Air Conditioning. And
you guys run into like problems with tax IDs and all that kind of stuff?
I don't know. I was
Oh yeah,
I was super young. I'm 27 now, so this was when I was a little baby. So I really don't know, but I just know the license numbers were different. So
Okay.
his license number and my parents' license number are completely different.
So different entities, yeah.
Yep, but same name.
Yeah.
And they took it from out of their garage in their house, living on the east side of town. And my dad would be building ductwork inside the garage, and then he would go out and install units and repair units, do things like that. And then he hired his first employee, his name is Jason Rankin, which still works for us even to this day. He's one of our top retro managers working for our company. But he hired Jason as his first employee and took off from there. And then over years of time, he hired one more guy and another guy and another guy. And then my mom, would hire someone for the office staff to answer phone calls. In the beginning, my mom would be the one answering all the phone calls,
Yeah.
booking all the jobs, and even helping my dad estimate jobs, things like that. And like I said, just over the years, just got more and more business, needed more guys, needed more employees. And now Holder's Air Conditioning is probably the largest air conditioning company in Kern County. We have, I think, close to 70-ish employees for Holder's Air Conditioning. Yep. And then recently, about a year, maybe 2 years ago, somewhere around there, they purchased Frontier Plumbing, and that company, I believe they have like 70-ish employees. So we're over 100 employees in total between both companies.
Wow, that's awesome. So that plumbing company, is it like industrial plumbing or is it residential plumbing?
Mainly residential. So when my parents took that company over, the previous owners, they did residential new construction, and a little bit, like when I say little, like very, very little of service and retro. And really none at all. It was mainly new construction installs.
Yep.
And when my parents took it over, they took it over as is, and now their goal and obligation is to grow the company to expand it like Holder's Air Conditioning. Like Holder's Air Conditioning, we do residential new construction, commercial new construction, multifamily new construction, retro service, repairs, maintenance, upgrades, the whole 9 yards.
Like industrial, people have walk-ins, people have all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, walk-in boxes.
Everything.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and the only thing we don't do is chillers and boilers.
Okay.
We don't typically really mess with any of that. But any light commercial, little bit of heavy commercial, and we're all residential. We do it all, other
Yeah.
than chillers and boilers.
Well, I mean, you see them everywhere. You see your trucks freaking everywhere. So
Thank you.
that's a great thing, man. Just to see, and that's another thing you guys kill. You guys kill it with the, you just do it right.
Thank
Like
you.
all the ads, all the stickers, wrapped trucks, wrapped service trucks. I mean, if your guys are doing something wrong, that's probably
Yeah.
probably not the best thing. But I mean, it's you guys do the marketing correct. You guys do. That's why you guys have grown probably, to the point where you guys are just like undeniable, just
Thank you.
undeniable company. So
Well, one thing I will say is, owning a business is extremely hard. I'm not the owner of the company, but hopefully eventually one day I can be, and that's my goal, and that's what my parents are trying to groom me into. Is the day that they retire, that I can keep the legacy going and keep the business going. And even though I'm not the business owner yet, I am in a management role now. I'm the service manager of the company, and just being the service manager is extremely stressful enough.
yeah,
I can't even imagine what they go through every single day. And one thing I will say is our company's not perfect. We make mistakes, and even though we will do anything we possibly need to do to fix any mistake that's made. Now, I'm not saying we make mistakes all the time. We're not a horrible company. We're a good
it's a
company.
service. It's I mean any service company that's out there. I don't care. You're fixing cars. You're fixing, you know. Typically, when you're in service, I worked at Solly and Son Hydraulics for 10 years, and then was outside sales and did that. You don't get a happy phone call when you're in service. Nobody's like, "Hey, my AC's broke, man. I hope you guys are having a great day."
Right.
It's like, and then they want it now. They want it yesterday, and it's.
Mhm.
I mean, and then sometimes mistakes happen.
Yep.
You don't tighten the freon line. Some leaks out.
Yep.
You're back the next day. I mean, but it's just how you rebound. And I'm sure you guys have the repeat customers. That's probably, once you go in there and just do it right, and or if you do have an issue, you
Mhm.
go back and you're like, we
Yeah.
fixed it for you guys.
Yep.
So
And one thing that I take pride in with our company is when we do make that rare mistake. Again, it doesn't happen all the time, but we're human. We make mistakes. When we do happen to make a mistake, and we mess something up, we're not the type of company that's going to try to charge you to repair the mistake that we made.
right,
So we're going to own up to it. We're going to make sure we take care of that customer. And one thing that also is really hard for the average consumer to understand is, we're not the most expensive company in town. I can name quite a few companies that I know are more expensive than us when it comes to installations or repairs or maintenance or whatever. But I can also name plenty of companies that are less expensive than us. But owning a business and watching my parents run the business over the years, I now see why it costs so much to run a business.
oh yeah,
The staffing that we have, we have an HR department, accounting department, call center, service manager, call center manager, retro manager, chief of staff, controller. We have all these different positions within the company. Well, to be able to pay those people their salary, you have to bring in the money to pay them. So,
Yep.
the larger the company gets, unfortunately, the more you have to charge. But the larger the company gets, the better service we can provide.
Yep.
And yes, that does affect our pricing, but the old saying is you get what you pay for.
Mhm.
So we do try to stay competitive when it comes to our pricing, and we do our absolute best to keep our pricing as low as we possibly can. We're not trying to continue to raise our pricing to try to make more profit. It's actually, we're doing the opposite. We're doing anything and everything we can to keep our costs low, keep our prices low, to make it as affordable as we can be for our customers.
Yeah, I mean, and what goes along with that too is like another thing of the overhead is paying your employees. You start paying these employees and they start performing well and doing well, their salaries go up. Their salaries go up, 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 and then you're like, something's like prices are going up on everything. My salaries are getting high. It's like where do I start having to figure this out? And you're probably guys are just like in quantity. I
Yeah.
just got to get quantity and get more services done, more
Yes.
more of this done.
Yes.
So like your profit margins might be shrinking, but you're still able to gain.
Mm-hmm.
So, and this is from Business 101 from John Candy, guys. So don't listen to a damn word I'm saying. So that forte is not in business, but
Yeah.
it's just, but I mean, it just makes sense that, if you're going to grow, everything gets more expensive. Your insurance is wild. I don't even want to
I
know
don't-
what that is with 140 employees, but
and,
yeah.
and 90 service vehicles.
Yeah.
The car insurance, if you've seen the monthly bill of that, you probably have a heart attack.
Yeah. But I mean, you got to have that stuff to make money.
Yep.
So I mean, that's what people, some people have come in here and be like, "Man, you got so much in this and that." I was like, "Well, you can't have, what you can't do what we're trying to do with no cameras and no lights and no, headsets and all that stuff. You got to have the stuff.
Yep.
So, I
Yep.
mean, about equipment. Not even work wise. We're talking like fun wise. You got to have good equipment.
Yep. So yeah, with racing, I've raced my whole life. If you don't have good equipment, and whether it's business related or racing related, if you don't have the good equipment, you can be the best driver in the world, but if you don't have the equipment to perform at the highest level, you're not going to be able to perform.
Yeah. Well, so I want to go back to your grandpa real quick. So I've known of your dad and your grandpa for years. I mean, they were kind of in the street race scene back in the day. They had the red and blue Chevelles, right? Or
It was one car.
one car.
Yeah, multiple different colors.
Okay, so it was red at one time and blue. Okay.
Yep. Yep.
So my dad was kind of in the scene back then. Late early '80s, late '70s, early '80s.
Mhm.
He had a '69 RT Charger, and he's like, "You gotta beat them Holder boys and that that Chevelle." And our good family friend Randy Oliver, he had a '69 Mach 1, orange one, 4-speed car, and like that community was so cool back in the day. So cool. When I was in high school, there was a street race scene, but I was already grown. I was born and raised into no street racing.
Mhm.
Whatever you want to do, just go to the track.
Right.
So I have a '69 Roadrunner in high school.
Mhm.
Still have that car, but my dad's thing was like, do not street race. I think I did it once, maybe twice,
Mhm.
but back then they're all the Honda cars and stuff. And I
Yeah.
had this big old ugly, 3,500 pound like
Yeah.
tank,
Yeah.
but had a 383 4-speed and just a couple of bolt-on stuff on it, and it'd run low 13s.
Yeah.
But that was bad fast in high school.
Oh, yeah. Like the slowest car that I've ever been in, which I've never street raced, but the slowest car I've been in, I would think I was running 470s, 480s in the 8th mile. And that sounds fast, but in reality, compared to what I race now, it's extremely slow.
Yeah.
And but just I remember hopping into my very first drag car, and the feeling that you get and the adrenaline rush you get, even going, on a slower setup and a slower type of car that you're racing, it's still a huge adrenaline rush. And I've never street raced, like I said. My dad never really introduced that to me. He street raced, like he said, growing up, you've seen them out there, and but he grew up street racing with my grandpa, and I don't know really why my dad never introduced me to it. I think probably because of the dangerous acts of it.
Yeah, I mean, when you're, when you're, everyone wants the adrenaline. Everyone wants to go fast. Everyone wants to have that. But if you don't have the, ability to go to the track, you're gonna go get it. So you're just gonna go, like you said, your dad was built this company from the ground up. So he was working out of the garage. So he was like, "Fuck it, let's just go race
Yep.
right in the backyard, right over here
Yep,
off
off
Zerker,
Yep.
Zerker, Zachary Road, whatever it is."
Yeah, he's told me some stories. Like
So
I said, I've never done it, but he's gave me a handful of stories of what he's been through, and I'll give you a quick story of from what he told me is he raced against some guy, and I could be telling the story a little bit wrong, so we can't quote me on this story 100%. But I think I remember my dad saying something about this guy wanted to race my dad, thinking that he could beat him. My dad raced him, but he won. It was a $50 bet or a $100 bet, something like that, something small.
big money in the '80s.
Well, yeah, big money back then, but 50 to
Yeah,
100
yeah,
bucks,
yeah.
and my dad ended up winning. The other guy claimed that my dad cheated or jumped the start or something. I don't remember exactly what the whole story was, but he was refusing to pay my dad. And my grandpa and I guess hopped in and was raising hell. And I guess the guy pulled a gun and said, "No, I'm not paying you. You guys cheated." And so
Yeah.
then both of them were like, "All right, dude, it's $50. Like, no big deal. It is what it is.
Uh-huh.
We'll leave it at that." And so the guy is obviously was a sore loser.
Yeah.
He didn't like the fact that he lost,
Yeah.
and he didn't want to pay the money up. But just a cool little quick story.
Well, I mean, that's a exhibit A of why he didn't want to introduce you to street racing.
Probably, yeah, probably.
I mean, because stuff like that happens. I mean, you think like as I get older, and I'm like, now I'm 40, so I'm like 20-year-old. I'm like, these are kids, and I was like, well, shit. When I was 20, I felt like I was grown and like could do grown people stuff.
You
But
were what is it? Invincible.
yeah, oh yeah, oh yeah. And now I look back, I was like, dude, man, I did some dumb stuff. I could have got hurt, got shot, got just doing dumb things, being in the wrong place at the wrong time.
Yep.
So like, just as you get older, you get wiser. That's for dang sure.
Hmm.
So I'm sure when I turn like 50 or 60, I'm like, dude, what the hell was I thinking when I was 40? But no, it's their parents are smart.
Yeah.
You don't want to listen to them.
Well, I actually I think I had a conversation with my mom not too long ago. Now that I'm older and have kids and a wife and everything. Back in growing up through junior high and high school, I was always annoyed by my mom, telling me what to do or tell me don't do this, don't do that, or obviously she's coaching me through life
Yeah,
and
parenting. Yeah,
yeah, but back then I'm like, you know what, you're stupid, mom, and that's not true or whatever. And but now that I'm older and have kids of my own, I'm like, I kind of see where she was coming from now.
yeah. It's once you have kids. I have a 14-year-old daughter. She's getting ready to start high school, and my 2-year-old son. You saw him coming in here, but
Yep.
it's everything changes.
Mhm.
Everything changes. It's wild.
Mm-hmm.
So you got 3 boys yourself, right?
Yes.
So you said 1, 5, and 7,
Yes.
and then, dude. So we're working. We were talking about. We're working through the potty training right now. So you got to go through it twice now. So what do you think this third one? How's he gonna handle it? It's so. Are they all the same? Temperament the same, or do you got a calm one? You got a wild one? You got.
So
Let's hear it.
yeah, definitely got some characters in my house. So my oldest son, Bristol, he's the 7-year-old, obviously. He's more of the shy, kind of calm, to himself type kid. Beckham, my middle kid, he's the wild and doesn't have any fear, and is the one that will try to beat his older brother up and all that. And then obviously we have our 1-year-old Liam. He's crawling. He's finally starting to stand himself up, and like he'll grab onto a table and pull himself up and get all stood up. But he's not walking yet. But he's at the crawling stage, and then at the part where he can pull himself up and stand up, but he's not walking yet. So, but if Beckham, or if he's anything like Beckham, he's probably going to be maybe worse than the way Beckham is. But like Beckham, he's already telling me, like I said, he's 5 years old. He's telling me, Dad, I want to go to MMA. I want to do karate.
Oh my gosh.
And so Bristol and Beckham, just the other day, they're in the middle of my living room, and they are full blown throwing punches, kicks, and I'm like, kids, calm down. You are gonna hurt you. You're gonna hurt yourself. And then sure enough, I walk away, and they're still fighting, trying to act like they're doing karate. And I hear crying, and then here comes which one was it? I think it was Beckham. Or no, it was Bristol. Bristol comes running in, and he's crying and holding his mouth, and I go, what happened? He goes, Beckham punched me in the mouth. I go, I told you that was going to happen.
Yep.
I told you to calm down. And he goes, well, he's not supposed to hit. And I said, well, you guys, I was watching you guys fight. You were doing the same thing to him. You were kicking and punching and pushing him down. I was like, so if you're going to do it to him, don't get mad when he does it back to you. So.
Exactly. I mean, that's boys though. Boys will be boys. I mean,
Yep.
that saying is true for a reason.
Yep.
I mean, and you got 3, bro. Oh my God. I pray for your wife. I pray. And I mean, and with you, like, doing all the man stuff, racing, like doing all the crazy things that you do.
Mhm.
And then your boys I know they're going to follow in suit.
I
Like-
hope so, and I'll let them choose, what they want to do as they grow up. If they want to race, I'll try my best to try to get them to be able to race. Obviously I got to be able to afford it. So if I can afford it, I'm all for it. That's what I would love for them to do. But if they choose not to race, no big deal.
Yeah.
I'm going to let them live their own lives as they grow up. If they choose that they would much rather play football than race cars, then that's what they choose. I'll support it. But my goal and my hopes are that they want to go, get into the racing community.
Yeah.
So.
And that was kind of one of the things I had Cade Lewis in here, Kobe Lewis's son, and we were kind of talking, and in the beginning of his young life, till about 11, 12 years old, he was trying to follow that baseball path and just try to do that, and then came to the realization that just wasn't in the cards for him. He just said he didn't want to do that anymore, and he started picking up racing, and then he just went full tilt in racing, and now he just got second place his second time out in a freaking sprint car.
Wow.
So with the USAC CRA series, so
Oh,
the biggest series in California.
Oh yeah, that's
for
I
sprint cars.
Yeah, I've dirt raced my whole life pretty much, and I know how hard that is. So that's extremely impressive. If that was his second race and he already got second,
Yeah,
that's really good.
yeah. So that was that's kind of just a little backstory with him of sometimes you kind of not expected, but maybe expected to go down this path, and then just doesn't happen, doesn't work out. But you still have success and do great things in other paths. So yeah, that's we'll see. I don't know what my son wants to do because I do so much. I say like jack of all, master of none. I freaking bowl and this and that, the other, play a little guitar, sing a little bit, do a little bit of announcing, podcasting, whatever, work on stuff, build stuff, just you name it. But whatever he wants to do, I'm like, just do it. Have fun, enjoy it. and just do it.
Yep.
So, and that's cool that you have the mentality that yeah, if they want to do it, cool. If they don't, so how old were you when you started? Did you start out in the dirt rate? Was it mini dwarfs or did you start out junior dragsters?
So
how'd you get your start?
yeah, to give the timeline, so I can't remember the exact age, but I would assume I was probably between the ages of 5 to 7 years old. I'm thinking. I raced go-karts over. I can't remember exactly what it was called, but that go-kart place, right?
Behind the bluffs.
Yes.
Yep.
I raced there a few times. So I did go-karts for not very long, but I did it a handful of times. Then again, I can't remember the age time frame, but I think I was maybe between the age of 7 and 10 years old. I started racing junior dragsters. I did that for I think a season, maybe 2 seasons, and then I jumped out of that, and I didn't do any kind of racing from right around 10 to 12 years old. No racing. I did youth football growing up,
Yep.
tackle football, and then when I was 13 or 14, yeah, I think I was 13 or 14, maybe. I think yeah, I'm just trying to remember the timeline, but I think I was 13 or 14 when I started racing mini dwarfs at Bakersfield Speedway.
Okay. Yeah.
I believe I might have been the very first mini dwarf flip, to flip a mini dwarf in Bakersfield Speedway history. So,
Nice.
I think there was a couple flips after me, but from what I was told, I think from Ricky Childress, I was probably one of the very first mini dwarfs to ever flip, and it was a pretty nasty flip. I don't know if you ever seen the video, but
I haven't. We'll pull it up. We'll get some B-roll and some posts and stuff like that.
yeah,
Like we'll clip this kind of stuff out, and I want to like jam it in there because
yep,
yeah, I
yep,
definitely want to see it because those things were wicked. Because about that time, maybe a little before then, like it's 2008, 2009. From about 2008, 2009 to about 2012, I was an official at Speedway.
hmm
But when those things first came out, man, they were so. I mean, they're just so rigid.
hmm
So like when anything happens, like
yeah.
you could see those kids in there just boom.
Oh
It's
yeah,
like
no
oh my
suspension.
gosh.
Yeah, I remember it was rough. I remember my head bobbing and weaving and hitting this headrest, and
So you still remember that?
oh yeah, yeah, I vividly remember that. And so yeah, I raced mini dwarfs for a couple of years, and then I got out of mini dwarfs and went straight into American stock.
Yep.
I literally raced American stocks once,
One time.
one time in Porterville, and that was it. I raced I think I ended up wrecking, and my dad came to me after the race, and he goes, "Yeah, American stocks, not for us. We're getting you into a sport mod." And so he ended up selling that American stock. He bought my first sport mod from a guy named Will Simcoe.
Yep.
And so I raced that. I don't know what it is about flipping race cars, but I seem to do it a lot. But I ended up flipping that race car about a year, maybe a year and a half into racing it. I flipped it down the front straightaway of Bakersfield Speedway. It was in a heat race, and I think I started fourth or fifth, worked my way up to second. I was passing for first. I was passing the guy. I don't remember who the guy that ended up flipping me was, but I was passing him coming out of turn 4, and I don't think he liked the fact that I was passing him, and so he purposely turned into me
Oh,
like
right,
this.
rear Jeff. That's the worst thing you can do. Yeah.
And he turned into me, so it shot me completely sideways, and it hit me again. And I guess with the traction, and it just picked me up and started barrel rolling me, and I landed upside down. And I remember getting out, and I remember tasting blood. And sure enough, I took a big chunk out of my tongue out.
Ugh.
And so that started my sport mod career. I raced sport mods from age 14 or 15 all the way up till today.
Yeah.
I was just telling you before we started that I just got a motor for my sport mod. I had a friend of mine go pick it up from Modesto. I'm gonna be working my ass off tomorrow, putting a new motor in to try to get it ready for Saturday. But yeah, race sport mods all the way up until even today, and then drag racing started.
So before we get into the drag racing,
Yeah.
you do have some. You did win the McGowan once, didn't you?
I did, yes.
In 17.
In 17, yes.
So that's the race that's coming up this weekend.
Mhm.
So you already have. So I mean, and that was one of the crown jewel races at the Speedway. You won a Mosier, you won a Bud National, or you won a McGowan. Those were the ones.
Yep.
So I mean, you already. I mean, it's not like you're not a field filler like you.
I feel like I am, but I have won, a decent amount of races racing dirt. A handful of Bakersfield Speedway. Think I won a time or two in Santa Maria. I could be wrong on that. And then I've came runner up multiple times, but I feel like I'm a field filler even today because I don't do it as often.
Yeah.
back when I was racing every freaking Saturday, I was getting decent at it, and I was getting comfortable, and I was able to run up front majority of the time. And but now with the drag racing and not being able to race dirt as often, I truly feel like I'm a field filler now. I don't have the repetitiveness like some of these guys do. Like,
Yeah.
Ethan Dotson, that dude races every weekend. Ricky Childress, he races every weekend. Tyler Irwin, all the guys I grew up with, as and close friends of mine, they're racing pretty much every weekend. So
Yeah.
like when you do it that often, obviously you get better, and you stay, you keep your skills at a high level.
Yeah, you got to sharpen that tool. I mean, look at Tyler Bannister, dude. He's been killing it.
Mhm.
He did so well for so many years in the sport mod. And, it was time, and he moved up, and he didn't skip a beat. I mean, that kid is just undeniable, unstoppable. Like he's going to be the next Ethan out
Mhm.
of Bakersfield. He's going to mark my words. You can put it on the calendar today. I'm like, the kid's going big time. He's going to follow Laney and follow Dotson, like
Yep, I
without a doubt.
I agree with that. I've known Tyler pretty much most of my life, and my dad has known his dad for a long time, and I grew up racing with Tyler, and
Yeah.
I believe we raced mini dwarfs together, if I'm not mistaken. I'm pretty sure we did. But yeah, I've watched him, grow up racing throughout the years, and I do agree he's an extremely good racer. He definitely takes pride in dirt racing, and it looks like he's definitely could be the next Ethan Dotson of going into late models or something along those lines.
Yeah, yeah, it's super cool to see. So you are definitely more focused right now, like in drag racing.
Hmm.
So you guys been going pretty hardcore in it. So you just got into pro mod racing last year, right?
Yeah, in 2025. Yep.
So 2025, and you right off the bat you picked up a win there too, didn't you?
Yeah, I did win my very first race in a pro mod in Vegas. Um, so to give you the backstory of the high level of drag racing I've been doing. So I've been doing it roughly for about 6 years. I started in a '91 Fox Body Mustang
Yep.
with a single kit of nitrous, and I was going the 470s, 480s, like I was saying earlier.
This is all eighth mile racing.
Yes,
Yeah.
all 8th mile. I've never done quarter. My dad raced quarter mile back in the day, but I've never physically done quarter mile or the 1,000 foot. I've only ever done 8th mile. But I was going 470s, 480s in the Fox body, and I was going 104 60 foots in that car, which is extremely fast for someone that doesn't have any experience in drag racing. It's a huge awakening of what it feels like.
So your first jump was from so you were racing a bunch of dirt stuff, and you guys like, let's go drag racing. So your first car was that Fox body.
Yes,
That's
yes,
insane.
and to give you a little bit more of a backstory, I hate drag, or not now, but back in the day, I hated drag racing.
Yeah.
I watched my dad drag race my whole life. He would go to Vegas, and every once in a while go out to Georgia to race No Mercy or Lights Out. And growing up, I never liked it. I hated going to the drag strip. It was boring. You sit there and wait for 4 hours, and then you go make a 3 or 4 5 second pass, and you come wait another 2 3 4 hours, and you go take another pass or go make another pass, and I just never was able to get into it. I always loved dirt racing. That was my passion.
Yeah.
And I even told my parents, like, I don't want to drag race. It just doesn't intrigue me. I don't like it. I'll go and watch you, my dad. I'll watch you race, but just me personally, I don't want to drag race. It doesn't look fun.
Yeah.
And finally, my dad came to me one day and was like, "Hey, there's a Fox body for sale. I'm willing to buy it for you if you want to give it a shot." And at first, I was like, I don't. It's like I said, it's not intriguing to me. I don't really
Mhm.
like it. But eventually I was like, you know what? I'll give it a shot. And so then that's when he got me that car. I took it out, I think to Sacramento for the first time I ever ran it. And like I said, I went 104, 60 foot. And from that point, I was hooked. The adrenaline rush you get from drag racing compared to any other racing I've ever done. I forgot to mention this. I used to race at KCRP for the super stocks.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
But whether it's asphalt racing, dirt racing, go karts, dirt bike riding, drag racing is by far the funnest and most adrenaline filling racing that you can ever do.
I
And
can only imagine. Like once you get to the point where like you're pulling that many G's on your body,
Mhm.
it's just. Does the vision just do this and then boom?
It kind of does. So like in my pro mod, I pull 3.5 Gs off the starting line, and
That's wild.
when I pull the parachutes, I think it's like 1.5 to 2 Gs. I think when I pull the parachutes to slow myself down, and the feeling that you get in your chest when you take off, it sucks you back in the seat, takes your breath away, and honestly, I'm going so fast I don't really know what I'm doing when it comes to my breathing. but I'm 99% sure I do not breathe from when I take off to when I cross the finish line.
That's wild.
And as soon as I pull those parachutes, and then I'm like, oh, okay, I can breathe now. I didn't crash.
And what's dude, I've got to say this because there was one quote or one phrase that a guy said is like, we're out here driving these cars, we're going 200 plus miles an hour, and we're up here one-handed pulling the chutes, holding this car down
Mhm.
with a fucking hand I can't even wipe my ass with. It's like that. It's like that just clicked it when it hit me when I heard that. I was like, that's so true. Like these, you guys going 200 plus miles an hour
Mhm.
and so quick, and you're holding onto the freaking wheel with a. I guarantee you don't wipe your butt with that hand.
No, no.
And it's just like it's. But once you're like, you're just that is like ultimate fight or flight mode. You're just like you do this, you do this, you do this. Like you just the
So
process.
a lot, and this comes from a lot of dirt racers. A lot of dirt racers, or a lot of people in general, they always say drag racing is easy. Drag racing is not complicated. It's, anyone can do it. I promise you, you step foot in a drag car, I don't care how slow it is one of the hardest things to ever drive. The fact, especially on a high professional level like a pro mod, you're going so fast in such a short amount of time, there's no room for error. And when you're holding the steering wheel and you're lighting the bulbs, as soon as you stage and then you pre-stage and then you stage and you hold the trans brake and you floor the gas pedal and you're waiting for the light to go, as soon as that light goes and you let go of that button, not only are you focused on going straight, but with the Pro Mod, it's has such big tires that it's moving around the track like this. And even though you're going straight, you're actually turning the wheel just as much as a dirt car. Dirt car, you're going in there, you're swatting flies, turning left, turning right, drifting, all that, and you're all over the place with the wheel. Pro Mod is the exact same thing as a dirt car. When you're running a drag radial car, it's a little bit different. Like that one, you really don't turn the wheel at all. But Pro Mod is by far the funnest thing I've ever driven when it comes to drag racing. And I think the reason why I think that way is because it's so close to dirt racing and drag racing combined.
Just combine it.
Yeah.
So you guys obviously run a pro tree, so the 410th Street, right?
Yes.
So how do you guys do it? Is it so it's just a trans brake,
Mhm.
and then just when you see the ambers go,
Yeah.
you
So
just freaking
so
drop it.
kind of give you the replication of how it works. So you do your burnout, you go past the tree, you get backed up. They set the wheelie bars, and then they turn my burnout limiter off. And then when they're rolling me up to the beams, so we have one guy in the back, one guy in the front. They're telling me, okay, turn left, turn right, make sure I'm straight. And then once they make sure I'm straight, then he'll creep me up to the beams about maybe 3 to 5 inches away. And then from that point, he'll wait for the other driver to make sure they're ready. Once both drivers are ready, then those two guys will walk away. And then one of the other drivers is going to light the first bulb, and then the other driver will light the first bulb, and then now it's up to one of the drivers to light the second bulb. And then once both bulbs are lit, then that's when you hold the trans brake, you floor the gas pedal all the way down to the ground, and you're just sitting there waiting. And as soon as you see any kind of yellow, because there's 3 yellow bulbs and then the green bulb, if you see green, you're already too late.
You're done.
Yeah, you're done. So you're sitting there, you got both bulbs lit, you got the trans brake clicked in, you got the full throttle going, and you're sitting there waiting. And the way I do it is the 3 yellow bulbs, I look at only the top one. So there's some people will look at all 3, some look at the middle, some look at the bottom. But for me, with trying to get the best reaction time possible, I only focus on the top one. I don't care anything below that. I'm only looking at the top. And so as soon as I see that top bulb turn yellow, I let go. And sometimes it bites me in the ass, and I red light, but sometimes it works. And
Well, I saw on your test hit, was it your first or second test hit? You were like 001,
yeah,
something like that. That's
so
like crazy.
So this last race that I went to last weekend was in Ohio, and it was an IHRA race, and I ran a total of 6 runs. So there was 3 test runs, 2 qualifiers, and 1 elimination. Unfortunately, I got put out in round 1. So my first test run, I went 002. Second run, I went negative 001. Third run, I went negative 001. Fourth run, the tree actually malfunctioned, and I'll give you a funny story. This is what my pit crew guy told me when I got back. So I lit both bulbs, hit the trans brake, floored the throttle, waiting for the light to turn yellow. It wasn't going. I was on the throttle. He looked at the data on the computer. I was on the throttle for 3.5 seconds.
Oh,
And
wow.
normally you're only on the chip for maybe a second, maybe a second and a half before the light comes. Sometimes even quicker than that. but I was sitting there full throttle waiting, and thinking in my head, I'm like, this should have came down by now. So I let off the throttle, and as soon as I let off the throttle, the lights come down. I'm like, what the hell? And so then I was kept myself calm, and I was like, okay, full throttle again, and then let go and took off. Well, then my reaction time was 3 point
Right.
something
Yeah.
seconds.
But you still want to get the pass in.
Yeah,
You're already there.
And so when I got back, my pit crew guy Robbie, he's my tuner. He comes up to me. He goes, "Dude, you should have seen what happened on the starting line when that happened." I go, "What happened?" And he goes, "So you floored the throttle and you're waiting for the light to come down. It wasn't coming down as soon as you let off, and then the lights came down. Well, the reason what happened was the starter. He has a switch. So when the pre-stage and the stage bulb turn on for whether you're running by yourself or you have two cars, once all the lights are lit, he'll flip the switch and that engages for the
The
pre
anchors, yeah.
for them to come down. Well, he forgot to turn it on. So
Oh,
I lit
no.
both bulbs and he didn't turn it on. So that's why it wasn't coming down. And I guess the other track official came walking up to the guy that holds the button and goes whack and whacks him right in the back of the head. And so yeah, I went the negative 001s. And then the 2 rounds of qualifying, I think I went red one more time. And then the second round of qualifying, I went 002. And then the first round of eliminations, I went 001. Unfortunately, I still lost. I went 001 on the reaction time, 366 at 205 miles an hour. And then my competitor, Stevie Fast Jackson, which he's a professional race car driver. That's what he does for a living.
Right.
I technically do this as a hobby. He's racing every weekend, whether it's NHRA, IHRA, PDRA, some small series that's out in the backwoods. He's always racing something.
Yeah.
And he went 018 on his reaction time, and he went a 361. Now, my personal best in the Pro Mod is a 357 at 210 miles an hour.
Uh-huh.
But unfortunately, I crashed back in Bradenton, Florida, a few months ago. I was doing good. It was the last round of qualifying. I made a really good hit. I went a 359, I think it was, and I crossed the finish line. Well, the car was starting to drift left, but it didn't start drifting left until pretty much the finish line,
Uh-huh.
like a little bit before the finish line. But it started to drift left. But I crossed the finish line. Everything was still going smooth. I pulled the chutes, and when I pulled the chutes, they deployed. Well, because I was so close to the left side wall, the air turbulence there was all thrown off. And so when the parachutes deployed, the right side parachute didn't deploy fast enough and it dropped and it wrapped around my wheelie bar. And then when it wrapped around my wheelie bar is when it finally deployed. And then it caused the car to lift up and then I swung over and hit the wall, came back, hit this wall, and it destroyed the whole front half of the car.
So that's at 200 plus miles an hour. Was that, I mean, how did that feel in the car? I mean, that had to be insane.
It definitely hurt. The impact didn't feel good. But I will say those cars are engineered and designed to withstand a hard hit like that.
Mhm. Or absorb it, right?
Absorb it, yeah.
Because, I mean, nothing you build can handle a 200-mile crash.
Right.
But
But the seat belts, I have a 7 or 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, 6-point harness.
Yeah.
So I have 2 that go underneath my legs, 2 that go over my waist, and then 2 that goes over my shoulders. And because of that 7-point or 6-point harness, and I have a race tech seat, which they are extremely comfortable, but they're extremely safe. They
Yeah.
are designed to keep you safe. And truthfully, I think if I didn't have that style of seat and that 7-point or 6, sorry, I keep saying 7, 6-point harness, I don't think I think I would have either been more hurt than I was because I wasn't hurt. I didn't break no bones.
right.
I didn't get no concussion or anything. But the next day and the following day, I mean, I was pretty sore.
Yeah. No matter, I don't care what you think or do. You hit something that going that fast.
Yeah.
You know, you could be in the craziest cocoon ever. That's gonna rattle your
Oh, yeah.
cage.
So,
But did you ever feel concussed or anything like that, or
no,
nothing like that? And
no.
just body soreness and
Yeah, mainly body soreness the next day. I was mainly mentally broken than physically broken.
Yeah.
Those Pro Mods are very, very expensive, and I know how much it costs to have to repair it. And that's the last thing I want to do is give my mom and dad a huge repair bill for one of those Pro Mods. It's expensive enough to buy the car itself,
right.
but if you crash it and it's a big enough crash, it's ungodly amount of money.
Yeah,
And
it's back to square one.
yeah, and back to square one. And so I was honestly, I was real shooken up for the fact that I just cost my parents a lot of money.
Yeah.
And I said sorry to them, and they know that obviously I didn't do it on purpose. I don't plan to crash at 200 miles an hour.
Right.
I'd much rather not. But I was just super upset at myself, and I was blaming myself, and going 200 miles an hour in 3 seconds. Some things you just can't plan for.
Yeah.
It just
Yeah.
sometimes it happens, and I will be honest. I was crying. Not because I was hurt, but because I was so emotionally upset of what I did and how much damage I caused and how much money I just caused my parents to have to repair this car.
Mm-hmm.
And like I said, I was mainly mentally upset than more, or mentally broken than physically broken.
Yeah.
So
So I mean, that's one thing too. Like you guys are just a family operation.
mhm.
So IHRA, that's a national thing, right? It's so NHRA is the top level.
Yep.
IHRA, that's got to be
Probably right underneath.
right next level,
Mhm.
and is it predominantly mostly eighth mile IHRA?
Mainly, yes. So they actually dabble in quarter mile racing for the top fuel, the funny cars,
Okay.
bracket cars, things like that. But they only do it at specific races.
Okay.
I'd probably say 70 or 80% of the races are all eighth mile, even for the top fuel and the funny cars.
Okay.
But the Triple Crown Series, which is a series of 3 races, if out of all the classes that they have, if one driver wins all 3, they win $1 million bonus.
Nice.
Unfortunately, I didn't win the first one, so I can't compete for the $1 million. But yes, IHRA I would consider just honestly close to equal of NHRA. I mean, they are a little bit underneath because they're not as known
Right.
as
Yeah.
national
Right.
compared to NHRA. But
Competition wise.
yeah, but the level of professionalism that they provide there is equal to NHRA. The staffing that they have, the fan experience that they have, it's I've the Ohio race that I went to the last weekend was the very first IHRA race I've ever even been to.
Mm-hmm.
I never even spectated IHRA race. And out of all the races I've ever been to, whether it's dirt racing in Vegas, or drag racing in Vegas, or drag racing in all these different national drag strips, it was the best experience that I've had in drag racing, just mainly for the fan experience.
Yeah, just the vibe and
Yeah, the
what they
vibe
bring.
yep. And like, I'll give you one thing that they do. Every single morning, they drop off 2 bags of ice to every single pit for free.
Wow.
That's unheard of when
Yeah.
it comes to racing, in any form of racing.
Yeah. Yeah.
And they really take care of their racers there. They want to grow IHRA to a level of NHRA, and I think they will get there. It's just going to take a matter of time, and they're starting to get all the racers coming to them. Because for the longest time, IHRA would not get the amount of racers coming to their sanctioned events. But they've definitely stepped up their game, and they're now starting to get these high level professional drivers coming to their races.
So the pro mount class that you guys race, so that is it's not like a pro stock. It's not like you guys are stuck in this little window of you can only do this kind of like only a blown motor, only a turbo motor, only a nitrous motor.
So
right?
there's relatively no rules in Pro Mod. The only rules that we have is you have to weigh a certain weight and you have to run a certain tire. Other than that, there's no rules. And no dual power adders. So if you got a screw blower, you got to run a screw blower. You can't add nitrous to it. If you run turbos, you can only run turbos.
No cubic inch rule. No.
Nope. You can run the biggest motor you ever want if you wanted to, or the smallest motor. You can run a small block, a big block. You can run nitrous, turbo, pro charger, harsh charger, screw blower, whatever you want. There's no rules.
And so you guys have run a bunch of stuff. So like your dad was, he had the fastest 275 car at one point in time for a couple of years, right?
Yeah, I think it was maybe a year or 2.
Yeah.
He was the fastest quarter mile drag radial car in the world.
So that was, so you guys have been doing this for a long time. You guys have made a lot of power for a lot of time, for a long time.
Yep.
So you guys had the turbo program for a while, right?
Yeah, he did. And at that time, I wasn't drag racing.
And
I was only ever going to watch him. But yeah, he had a 2000 Camaro, and it was twin turboed 98 millimeter turbos, if I'm not mistaken. And I'm trying to remember what his world record was. I think it was quarter mile. I think he went 612. I could be wrong on that, but somewhere around that time at 260 miles an hour. And he held the record for a little while, and then someone ended up beating it later down the road.
Dude, on a 275 tire. I mean, that's that wide. That's insane.
Yeah, it's a little bigger than a standard street tire on a regular vehicle.
Yeah.
But when you look at it compared to like a Pro Mod tire, Pro Mod tires are like this. Drag radial tires are like this. So yeah, it is crazy. And the scariness of going that fast, which I've never been 260 miles an hour. Obviously, only my dad has. But just going 200 plus miles an hour on a drag radial tire is sketchy enough.
Yeah.
'Cause one small wrong move and you're going for a ride.
So you guys, what are you guys running right now for your power package?
So it's a Noonan Hemi, five. I think it's a 565 cubic inch, and it has a 92 overdrive screw blower,
Okay.
and it pushes probably 4,100 horsepower,
Wow.
4,200 horsepower, and there's a lot of drag racers out there that try to exaggerate their horsepower, but to be conservative, it's about 4,000 horsepower.
Yeah. That's so much power.
Yeah.
And methanol, you guys run alcohol?
Alcohol, yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's the most safe kind of fuel to run, right? So
It's not.
I know about when I say safe for the engine.
Yes.
So like it's harder to pre-detonate, harder. You can run it a little harder and a lot more forgiving
So
than like fuel.
the main reason why these type of cars run on methanol or alcohol is because it keeps the engine cool. And honestly, when it comes to safety, quote unquote, it's probably more dangerous than other types of fuel because when methanol catches on fire,
Clear.
it's clear. You don't see a flame. So if you're on fire, you have no clue until you start feeling the heat.
Yeah.
When I crashed in Florida, my car didn't catch on fire necessarily, but there was a little flame, and I seen the initial flame start, but then it went away, but it was still burning because they had to put it out with the little fire extinguisher at the bottom. But as soon as that first initial flame hit, I immediately felt the heat. And even though it was way in the front of the car where the fuel tank was, I was obviously inside the car still trying to unbuckle my seatbelts, trying to get out. But even though it was so far up, it was burning so hot, I was able to feel the heat from it.
Wow. Yeah.
And,
I mean, that's every racer's worst nightmare is the F word.
mhm.
And so I can only imagine, you've already taken this big impact and then you see that and feel that you're like, get me out of this thing like now.
Yes. And one thing when you happen to crash in a drag car like that, obviously unless you're hurt and you just physically can't get out, once I got done crashing and the car came to a stop, I knew that I have time to get out, even though there was a small little burning flame that was going on. I knew it wasn't big enough to where I need to freak out and hurry up and get out.
Right.
So I'm not that I was taking my time, but I knew I was safe. I knew I wasn't gonna get hurt or anything from the fire and anything that was going on. So I was still getting out quickly, but I wasn't super rushed or anything
Right.
like that. And by the time I even got out of the car, the tech officials or the safety officials were already there. They were already putting things out and checking on me and everything. And I will say I'll give a shout out to the promoter of that race. His name's Wes Buck. That dude was the very first person, other than the safety officials, to get to me after I got out of the car.
Uh-huh.
And he wrapped me in a bear hug and asked me if I was okay. And typically promoters, they're not going to do that. They're like, oh, you crashed, sucks. That kind of sucks. And okay, let's keep moving on with the races. But like I said, before my parents, before my pit crew, before my wife, before other than the safety officials, he was the very first person to come to me make sure I was okay.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's tough to make a tough flick like that. So that wasn't with the IHRA, right? So what
That was the
affiliation was that?
That was the Drag Illustrated Winter Series.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that was race 2?
Race 3.
Race 3, so the third race.
Yeah, the World Series of Pro Mod, which is the biggest race of that series.
And so that was your, how many, 4 or 5 times out in a Pro Mod?
So first race was Vegas.
So Vegas wasn't a part of that.
No.
That
That's
series.
a standalone race by itself. So Vegas was my first one, and then we went straight into the Winter Series, which was that 3-race series. So it happened on my 4th race in Pro Mod. Yeah.
Man, fourth race in that. I mean, that just adds to the emotional aspect of it. You're like, man, you're already, your feet wet with a wind.
Mhm.
You're like, this thing's working. We're motoring. We're battling. We can do it.
Yep.
Like we're here. We can run the numbers.
Yep.
We just gotta just figure it out. And then you're just like, boom.
Yeah. And like, so the Winter Series is probably one of the biggest Pro Mod events in the country for the whole year.
Uh-huh.
There's over 70, 80 Pro Mods that enter that event, and only 32 make it. And so I qualified technically for all 3 races, even though I got disqualified because I crashed for the 3rd one. But I was qualified into that race. So if I wouldn't have crashed, I would have made it into that race as well.
Yes.
But to be able to qualify for any of those 3 races is not impossible, but it's extremely hard. And to have a brand new car, fresh out of the box, won my very first race in it, and qualified for all 3 national large Pro Mod event for all 3 and able to qualify, like I can't explain how proud I was of my team and my tuner and the hard work and dedication that they put in to get that car at such a high level in such a short amount of time.
So I mean, we see the prep stuff that goes on with like for NHRA where they just completely tear the blocks down, do the whole refurbish. What is a turnaround time, or what does it look like? Race to race with your guys' setup. So
Yeah.
I mean, do you guys? I'm obviously you guys probably got to run valves and do
Mhm.
pull off valve covers, at least do that.
Yeah.
So what's the maintenance look like between rounds?
So between rounds, they definitely run the valves every single lap. The only time that they won't run the valves is if we don't make it full, all the way down the track. So if it shakes the tires or something funky happens and I let out and I don't make it all the way down to the finish line, they typically won't check the valves. But if we make it a full pass, then they'll check it every single time. Oil changes, we typically will do it probably every 5 to 10 passes, maybe, depending on what the oil looks like.
Yeah.
They'll look at it and they'll kind of see, how much alcohol's in it and how diluted it is, and then determine, okay, it's time to change the oil. But rods, I don't know the exact lap count before they replace them, but I know the range is probably 25 to 30 passes before they change the rods in the
Uh-huh.
motor. Crankshaft, that can last the whole season pretty much, unless you break it. But rods every 25 to 30 laps, and pistons, I think that's like every 30 to 40. And then valve springs is whenever they get weak. So we have a valve tester, and they'll test the valve springs as soon as they see it. Whatever the PSI is on the valve. If it's below a certain range, then they just pull it off, put a new one on.
So that's something where they put. So how does that machine work? Is it just tension?
Yeah, tension.
Oh,
So,
okay.
so it mounts onto the head, and then it has a little circle thing that goes onto the spring, and then you grab it and you pull down, and then it has a little gauge on it.
Yeah, it
and
just has.
Yep.
So it's spring tension.
Yep.
Oh, okay. Because I heard put pressure on. I was like, oh, I was like, how are they doing that from the inside of the head? I was like, well, I gotta see this tool.
Yeah.
But no, just spring pressure on each valve.
Yep. And then they have this special tool that they'll put in where the spark plug goes. And they'll screw it in there. Then they put compressed air to it, and then they'll see how much air is leaking through the pistons and through the rings.
Okay.
And so once those are at a certain point, then obviously we got to pull the pan, pull the rods off, and we got to change the bearings and change the rings and the pistons.
And so do you guys do that at the track?
Sometimes.
Wow, I mean, so what's your crew look like body wise? How many guys do you guys take with you?
It depends on the race. So if we're only racing the pro mod, it's me, my dad, and then my two pit crew guys, Robbie and Mason. Mason is the engine guy, and Robbie's the tuner and the chassis guy. So they do mingle together, and when it comes to the setup of the car, they'll clash it out and they'll use both their brains to figure something out. But mainly Robbie is the one on the keyboard trying to make it go fast, and Mason's the one doing the repairs, doing the maintenance. And then they kind of both go hand in hand when it comes to changing setups on the chassis and things like that.
Man, that's crazy.
Now,
So it's like a 4-man operation.
Yep.
That's
yep,
it.
Yep. And then if we do two cars, so when my dad races, it's typically me, Mason, Robbie, my dad, and then there's a really good friend of ours. His name's John DC. His nickname's DC, but his real name's John. He'll come and help us out also whenever my dad races. So when we're running two cars, you need more manpower.
Yeah.
And then there's a really, really good friend of ours, Lyle Robertson.
Oh, I know a lot.
Yeah.
I used to race quads with Lyle.
Oh, did you? Okay. So he was part of our pit crew, and still kind of is. He doesn't come to as many races as he used to.
Yeah.
He has obviously his own life and own obligations. So but he typically, especially when my dad was racing constantly, he was really involved. And not that he's not involved now. He still helps when he can, but just not as often as he used to.
Yeah, it takes so much. Like when you see, like I had Jerry Stewart in here, one of the first podcasts that we were doing when Santa Maria started up. My uncle's been with him for probably 20, 25 years.
Mm.
Working with him on his car and doing the whole thing. Like just to have crew guys on this level, they're not getting paid to do this. And I mean, I don't know what your guys' deal is, but getting crew to just stick out and hang around for a long time, it's so hard.
So one thing, so there's another group of friends of ours, Chris Wheeler and Rod Wheeler. They were on my dad's pit crew for many, many, many years.
Mhm.
Honestly, longer than I can remember. And they did it out of the kindness of their own heart. They took time off work. They used their vacation time. they would go with no pay and just to come help my dad race.
Yeah.
But they did it out of the love for my dad and out of love for drag racing.
Yeah.
And they were on our pit crew for a very long time, or not on his pit crew. I wasn't racing at the time, but and it got to a point where we started drag racing a whole lot more, or my dad started drag racing a whole lot more than I got involved in drag racing, and it came to where we're racing way more than we ever used to. And I think it got to a point where just too much racing and taking too much time off work. So unfortunately, Chris and Rod they no longer come and help us anymore. We're still great friends with them, but
Yeah. Yeah. No, I mean, there just comes a point in time where you're like, okay, I can do it to this breaking point, and it's usually like mama's at home, like, okay, guys, I need to see you.
yeah, yep, yep,
So, I mean, like, even just for me to relate it to the podcasting thing, I want to do this every day, not every day, but I mean, like, 3 podcasts a week would be sweet.
right,
My wife's like, you can do 1, 2 every once in a while. So, like, you better pump the brakes, homie.
yep,
It's like until this pays the bills, you're pumping the brakes on
yep,
that. So,
yep,
I mean, it's a passion though. But when you love it, as us as guys, the adrenaline, even just the adrenaline of working on something and seeing something do well. When I was 14, 15 years old, working on Jerry's late model,
hmm
this is when he won. Just the feeling that I got when my guy that I worked on that car. I
hmm
siped those tires, I cut those tires. It's like makes you feel great.
oh yeah,
So I mean, getting that juice, that pump is good for everybody that's involved with the team.
hmm
Like the driver, of course, is the number one. That's got to be the best feeling in the world. Like when you're like, I got it done for my guys.
yeah, yeah.
So
So the way I look at it is, if I win a race, drag racing, and whether it was won by reaction time, and obviously that's my doing, or if it was won by the ET
performance.
and the performance based off what the tuner did, whether I won from reaction time or what the tuner did, I give all the credit to my pit crew guys, because without them, we wouldn't be doing what we're doing. There ain't no way we can handle a pro mod out back east racing at the level that we're racing at with just me and my dad. If it wasn't for Robbie and Mason, they, like I said, we wouldn't be doing what we're doing today. So anytime I win or anytime I do good, I don't care whether the race was won by me or by the tuner. I give the credit to them every time.
Yeah. So do you guys house the car out of here, or is it house? It's housed back east.
In Tennessee.
And are they there as well?
Yeah.
Your tuner and your guy.
Yeah. So the company is called Lions Custom Motorsports.
Okay.
They repair, rebuild. They build brand new cars. They house people's cars for them. And luckily for us, they dedicate themselves for the pit crew side of things for just us. So they house the cars for us. They maintain them. They maintenance them. They load the trailer. They'll bring the trailer to the racetrack, and then we fly in, and we'll get everything set up. And like I said, they'll help us through the race. And then when the race is over, we all load up, and then they'll take the hauler, take it back to their shop, and then we fly home. So they do everything from square A to square Z.
So I was going to ask you. So they manufacture from nothing. Like those. So somebody could go to them. Well, I don't know their schedule or
Right.
what they're working with, but I mean, if somebody wanted a Lions chassis, they can just you go make your appointment.
Yeah.
Could sit down and be like, we're wanting to get into this class.
Yep.
Or is it strictly pro mod, or do they do
Everything.
everything?
It doesn't matter. So it doesn't matter the class or the brand of car or what type of car or how fast you want the car to go. They'll build anything. Typically, it probably takes about a year to year and a half to build a full-blown race car.
Uh-huh.
And so obviously, with that being said, it does take a long time for, if you were to come to them and say, hey, I want to build a 69 Camaro Pro Mod. Well, it's not going to be like I can go racing in 3 months.
Right.
You're going to be waiting about a year and a half or so before you can go racing.
So the car that you were running now, so was that the same car that you had, or was it completely?
So they cut it off pretty much from the firewall forward.
Okay.
Redid the whole chassis from the firewall. Redid the fuel tank and mounted everything back and put the motor back in it, and that was about it.
So that's, I mean, that's a tough rig then.
Yeah.
To be able to, so did it slap the wall at all, or was it just head on impact? I remember seeing the crash. I remember seeing it, but I don't remember,
Exactly what happened.
exactly. Yeah.
So when I started to drift over, and I'm so grateful I didn't hit the other driver, Melanie Salemi. She's another driver that does it for a living. That's all she does is race. And so we took off, and when I crossed the finish line and pulled the parachutes, I started to cross over. I beat her to the finish line. So I was in front of her. So, we were probably like this.
Take that, Melanie.
And when I crossed the finish line and pulled my shoes and started to, drift over, and she was still going. And so right when she passed me is when I crossed over right behind her wheelie bars. So I was this close to hitting her
Wiping
in the
her out
side
too.
door or
Yeah.
something. So I'm grateful I didn't hit her. That would have been really bad if we would have got tangled up. But yeah, so I was crossing over, barely missed her. Luckily, I think with my dirt car driving skills, I was able to try to stay off the wall. And because at first I was head on, like I was looking at the wall like, oh, this is gonna hurt. And as soon as I probably got, I'm gonna guess 3 to 5 feet away from the wall, I was trying to get the car away from the wall, and luckily I was able to kind of swat it like this, and I almost missed it. I was like, oh, cool! Like I was in the, for a split second, I was like, all right, cool, I didn't hit the wall. And then it shot back and hit the wall, and
Ah.
because it had like whiplash or something like that. And so when it smacked back into the wall, it broke the steering. And that's the reason why I hit the other side of the wall on this side, because as soon as I hit it, it broke the steering. It started sliding me over this way. And I was on the brakes trying to get it to slow down, but
Nothing's there.
yeah, you
Cut
hit
the
the wall.
lines off it.
Yeah, well, that, and you hit the wall at 200 miles an hour. It's kind of hard to stop yourself.
Yeah.
It's going to take a little while. So I come sliding back over, slamming on the brakes, and then that impact hitting the second wall is what did most of the damage.
Okay.
If I would have, and actually, it's a funny story. So this past weekend when I was racing in Ohio, me and Robbie, my tuner, was talking, and we were talking about the crash, and he goes, "Dude, I wish it wouldn't have hit that second wall." And I go, "Well, yeah, me too, but why?" And he goes, "Well, if you would have only hit that one wall, I'm almost guaranteed that we could have patched it up at the race and continued to race. We more than likely could have done that. It didn't just that's
A-arm stuff and
yeah, maybe a arm
spindle.
and some duct tape on the carbon fiber body, and you're good to go." But he said that second hit with the left wall is what did all the damage. So I wish it would have only hit the one wall right there. Again, there's a really high possibility we could have kept racing and possibly could have won the race, but yeah, after that second hit of that second wall, that's where it really did the damage.
Wiped out.
Yeah.
So like some guys have superstitions and things like that of like, okay, this kind of happened. Does it, I mean, I don't want to bring it up, but I kind of want to know, like, do you think about it when you're in a staging, you're like, oh shit, let's not wreck this thing. I mean, or just, you can't have that mentality as going into racing and being tentative. We've talked about, if you want to try to hold off, and like if you're tentative with it, that's when shit happens. That's when things go wrong fast. That's when you know you're definitely not going to perform. You're being tentative. In dirt track racing, you're going to be slow because you're not driving it hard enough. I imagine in drag racing, you got to have that mental toughness.
Yes. So anytime I climb in a pro mod or a drag radial car that goes 200 plus miles an hour, I try to, for one, blank my mind out. I'm focused on the race. I'm focused on getting a good reaction time. I'm focused on beating the other guy to the end of the finish line. I do not think about crashing. I do not think about what can go wrong. If you have that mentality of you think you may crash or you may hurt yourself or something's going to go wrong, you don't need to be in that race car.
Yeah.
You are going to hurt yourself having that mentality. One thing I told my son Bristol, because we were talking not too long ago, and he's having the interest of wanting to start racing and stuff like that. We got him some outlaw carts, and we did 2 races with him, one in Santa Maria and one in Lemoore. And I told him, and I don't know how the conversation got brought up between me and him, but he was asking me kind of the same question. He's like, do you get scared? Is it scary? And I told him, I said, you don't need to be in a race car if you're scared. And like yeah, when I go into my pro mod or any kind of drag racing, there's no fear in my body. If I crash, I crash. If I get hurt, I get hurt. That's the risk I'm willing to take, doing what I love to do. And that's, I have a good friend of mine that works for us. His name's Leo. When he first got hired and he got introduced to the fact that I race and my dad races and we go 200 miles an hour, he goes, "You're not afraid you're going to die? You're not afraid you're going to hurt?" And he goes, "You are insane to do something like that. Like you're crazy." And I go, like, it's just what I love to do. If I happen to die from racing, at least I died doing something that I love. And obviously, God forbid, I hope that never happens.
Yeah.
But
No,
but if it does, I died with a smile on my face. So
yeah, I mean, and that's something that's just every racer has to get past, or I don't know about get past, but not let it overtake them.
Mhm.
But that's what gives it the thrill. That's what gives you the adrenaline. That's what
Yep.
gives you like you're doing something that 90% of the world cannot do
Yeah.
and will not do.
Yep.
It's just it's so freaking awesome, and it's from all levels, from the dirt track level and the modified stuff and sport mod racing into pro mod racing. It's just, I mean, I'm sure you still get jazz coming out of a sport mod. You're gonna come jazz. You're gonna get out of that car this weekend out of Bakersfield and be jazzed. Be
Oh,
like,
yeah.
dude, like, okay, we're racing these again.
Yep.
Screw that pro mod.
Well, I'm a dirt. Like I said earlier, I hated drag racing growing up. Now I absolutely love it. I honestly love it better than dirt racing. But dirt racing is my roots. That's all I did growing up. I did it my whole life, and I will never not love dirt racing. Even though I love drag racing so much more now, dirt racing always has a place in my heart. And whether I quit one day dirt racing, which I don't think I ever will, but if that day comes, it's going to be a very hard day for me if I ever do quit dirt racing.
Well, and that's the thing. Like you guys have the equipment, you guys have the stuff, and I mean, yeah, stuff changes every year with modifieds. Chassis change, shocks change, things change every year. But I mean, look at Sunny Simpkins. She still has her 2012 Onnit chassis sport mod. She won a heat race this year.
Yep.
This is her maiden voyage in sport mod racing.
Yep.
And she's if as long as you got the right help, the right people to point you in the right direction with dirt track, there's so much more forgiving stuff than like the drag car. I'm sure that's got to be on point.
Perfect every time.
It's got to be, yeah.
Yeah.
And yeah, I don't want to say perfect because perfect is perfect, but yeah, it's got to be perfect.
Yes.
Like every single time, everything's got to be spot on.
So in drag radial racing, it has to be perfect to go down that racetrack, because you give it a little too much power, just maybe 10 to 20 more horsepower than you should have. You're blowing the tires off, and you have a chance of it shooting sideways or doing something stupid. There's that on especially drag radial racing. There's that extremely fine line of just enough or too much or not enough. And if you happen to give it too much that one time, and you don't know how to react to the car when something like that happens, and I've seen it plenty of times, watching other drivers, they'll spin the tire and they'll not have the reaction time to let off the throttle, and they'll just stay full throttle on as they're spinning the tire.
See you later.
And then sure enough, they go wow, bow, and right into the wall.
Yeah.
And and drag racing, I think I've been able to pick up so quickly with that because of my dirt racing. With throttle control, and when you're dirt racing on a dry slick track, you got to have throttle control. You just give it full throttle, you're blowing the tires off. You're not going nowhere.
Yeah.
You're going backwards. So with drag racing and drag radial racing, I think I was able to pick up when to let off the throttle when it spins the tires, and have that good reaction time because of the experience that I have with dry slick dirt track racing.
So is it like you see at NHRA racing where there's like a pedal fest race as well? Like
I've been through it.
yeah.
Yeah.
So like you guys both blow them off, and then it's just whoever got smoother back to it and just
Yep.
able to make the
Yep.
pass faster than the other guy.
Yep.
Not necessarily the fast, a dead. It's not always like a dead fast car that wins. Sometimes it's a driver car.
So I've seen the number one qualifier get put out first round.
Wow.
Yeah. And it happens more times than you'd think. You'd think the number one qualifier would be the one that wins most of the races, but that's rarely the case. Typically, the number one qualifier does not end up winning the race.
So yeah, so drag racing is the same every time. So is it always 16 cars?
32.
So 32 cars. So 32 cars. So you got the tree, and the top qualifier races
32.
32.
Yep. And then so on and so forth, all the way down to the middle.
So that's what I meant. 16 races, but 32 cars.
Correct. Yeah.
So that's how it works, and that's all forms of racing
So-
for drag racing.
Yes and no. Most drag races that we do is a 32 car field. I believe NHRA is a 16 car field, like what you were trying
Yep.
to say originally. But all the racing that we do, it's all 32.
32 car fields.
Mhm.
So you guys, IHRA, that there was 32 plus.
There's 31.
There was 31 pro mods that showed up.
Yep.
So that's, I mean, man, just to think of the money that's in these pits of
Hundreds of millions of
Oh
dollars.
my gosh! Each and every time they have an event, it's just unreal. 'Cause, I mean, you guys know what you guys spend on your program,
Mhm.
and then it's like X32.
Yeah.
And then that's that class. Then you got 5 other freaking classes out there.
Oh, and there's one guy that races in pro mod. He doesn't physically race; he's just the team owner.
Uh-huh.
But he has 4 or 5 pro mods, and he brings them all to one race. And he has obviously different drivers that he has for each of his cars. But just that camp alone, the amount of money that guy spends on his program is we spend pennies compared to that
Yeah.
guy.
Yeah, it's there's just levels to it. There's just levels to it. But those guys that have that, but they have that, they're successful, yes. But then you go to like the finals. You go to the Bud finals in Pomona,
Mhm.
where all the NHRA classes get out there, and you got the guy that's working out of the back of his truck in an open trailer that's still go out there and he'll get the national championship,
Mhm.
and that guy's still competing with the guy that's pulling it out of the freaking Summit trailer.
Right.
So I mean, it's just wild how like. But that's the difference, though, I think, between like you guys are like no holds barred. It's like not a breakout class.
Mm-mm.
It's not a dial in thing.
Nope.
It's run what you brung and
Yep. Whoever makes it to the finish line first wins.
bring enough.
Yep.
So I think you see a lot more of that in the bracket racing,
Mhm.
where the guy that's dialing the 960 and runs a 960
Yep.
cut a 00 light.
Yeah. So I've never done bracket racing, but I've never even thought to ever want a bracket race because the way I look at bracket racing, and my dad thinks the same way, is you're trying to go a certain time and you're not trying to go faster than that time. Well, in my mentality, I'm trying to go as fast as I possibly
Racing.
can. Yeah, we're racing. And then you'll see these bracket racers where they'll hit the brakes or they'll let off the throttle. I'm like, what are you doing? Go, keep going. What are you doing? But obviously that's what they need to do to be
Yeah.
able to win. But like with me, just my mentality and the way I grew up racing and with heads up drag racing, you go as fast as you possibly can. There's no limits, and you try to make it to that finish line before the other guy.
Yeah, I mean, you see it like on the Summit Racing stuff. You see the guys going boom, boom, like they're half track and they're just freaking breaking their neck trying to see where the other guy is, and it's just like, oh no, let's just go.
Yeah.
Let's.
Yeah, in a pro mod going 200 plus miles an hour, you don't have time to try to look over. Like, hey, where you at?
Yeah. So how long does that set of tires? You said the tires are what are they? 18-inch wide, 20-inch tire.
I'm gonna be honest, I do not know. I
How many runs do you guys get out of those things?
we could probably get a good 40, 50.
Oh wow, you get a lot of passes out of
Yeah.
those. So I'm just trying to put it to the scale of like, G60s. G60s, you only get, depending on the track, 4 races out of them.
Right.
And
Dry
it's
slick and
$180 a tire. So it's just like, dang.
Mhm.
So in my mind, I'm like, man, these tires have to be freaking $400 or $500 a tire, so $1,000 a set.
Mhm.
I'm like, how many passes do you guys get out of those? So it's really tires is not like the big spend
No,
in
no,
drag racing.
no. The big spend is the car itself. Um, Once you initially get the car, that's the initial big spend of it. Obviously, it is expensive to maintain them and keep them up to date with the new technology and things like that. But I would say the main expense would be everything that's in the motor: the rods, the pistons, the valve springs, the oil changes. That's probably where most of the money goes is to the maintenance of the motor.
Maintenance.
Mhm.
And that's, I mean, that's the heart of it. So do you guys have a spare engine as well?
Yes.
So when you guys go to the tracks, if you guys hurt something, you guys can make
Yes.
the repairs and.
I'd say 9 times out of 10, they'll be able to repair that existing motor that's in the car.
Uh,
But if we full on blow the motor up and it's nowhere to be, there's no way you're going to repair it, then we have that one that we can swap out.
so and then so with the 275 package and your guys' deal, is it the same motor?
Yes.
So if you guys both go race, you guys have 3 engines at the track?
Yep.
That's perfect.
Yep.
So you guys same setup, same everything. So you guys don't have. So is your dad still running 275s though, right?
So currently he switched his car to Pro Street, which is a
Pro Street.
10.5 tire. And
Okay.
it's a slick tire. But he did that because I'm now racing Pro Mod, and they don't race radial cars typically at Pro Mod events.
Ah,
So he had to find a class for his car to fit in, which was the 10.5 class. And so currently it's on that, but he's going to convert it back to radials for the racing that's going to happen in October.
so it's in October.
Mhm.
What is happening in October?
It's No Mercy. It's Duck X Productions. His name's Donald Long. He puts on 2 races a year. Lights Out and No Mercy, and it's probably the biggest radial race in the country for those 2 races.
So and your car is too far past the point of converting back to a radial tire?
For the Pro Mod?
Yeah.
No, we could put radials on it.
Oh, you can?
And there's a good chance I'm going to be putting radials on it for that No Mercy race.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Nice. So it's just.
But real quick, it'll be 315s, not 275s.
Okay,
Yeah, so a little bit bigger.
a little bit bigger.
Mhm.
So you guys might battle against each other.
No.
Did you guys ever race against each other?
Oh yeah. Yeah, we raced in Pro 275 together for
Okay.
probably.
Oh, that's when he had the red Nova,
Yes.
and you had the white Camaro.
Correct.
Okay.
Yep. So.
Yeah, I follow, dude. I
Yeah,
follow.
yep,
I
yep.
got you.
We met each other in the finals, one race. I came runner up. My dad won. I ended up spinning the tire. My dad made it all the way down. So the one time we met in the finals, he beat me. But
Gosh,
we,
your butt, dude.
yeah. But I will say to try to one up him on that, I think we've lined up against each other in eliminations 6 total times, and I've won every time except that one time.
Oh, when it mattered.
Yeah.
Yeah, when it mattered.
Yeah.
You got that, Roger. When it mattered. But yeah, dude, that's so the same type of deal with the when the radial tire stuff. Did you guys house those here, or were they housed at lines?
Mhm.
So I'm sure most of this racing's done over there, right? 'Cause
All of it.
I haven't seen any. Famoso doesn't carry any type of sanctioned event like that here, do they?
No, and to be honest, if they did, they wouldn't get too many racers. There's only a limited quantity of pro mod racers on the West Coast.
Okay.
90% of them are all on the East Coast, and a lot of them are unwilling to travel this far because most of the time, if they do have a race like in Vegas, we go to Streetcar Super Nationals every year in Vegas. They have a pro mod class for Vegas for Streetcar Super Nationals, and I think we had, trying to remember, I think we had maybe 14 or 15 cars show up.
Oh wow.
But really, none of the East Coast pro mod racers went to that race because, for one, the payout isn't the greatest. It was $7,500, or no, sorry, it's 10 grand to win. $7,500 for Pro 275, but 10 grand for pro mod. But they can race in their backyard for 20 grand, 25 grand, 50 grand, 100 grand. So why would they spend all the time and fuel and heartache to drive all the way across the country for 10 grand when they can race for 50 grand in their backyard?
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I mean that kind of translates back to the dirt track stuff that's around here. It's like it's 600, 800 bucks for a modified win. You're like, man, how is that? Like, I don't know how it works. Is that definitely not on that side of it? I'm glad I just get to talk
Mhm.
about it, or just be the guy behind the microphone. But you see all like the purse money, but you go back east, you see their purse money, and they're doing that 3 times, 4 times a week.
Mhm.
It's like, the economy's the same throughout the country. It's like, but I think that's just racing back east.
Yes.
It's just racing is a heartbeat of the Midwest. It's
Yes.
just a way of life.
Yeah, and I would love to see the West Coast racing scene, no matter if it's drag racing, dirt racing, asphalt racing, go-kart. I don't care what kind of racing it is. I would love to see the level of competition and the level of professionals like you see on the East Coast over here on our side of our side of the country. Um, and then you have like Ethan Dotson. He's a professional late model driver now. But unfortunately, he has to go race on the East Coast majority of the time.
Right.
And obviously, I'd love to see a guy like him be able to race late models on the West Coast, but there's really no late models over here.
Yeah, there's
So,
zero.
yeah.
I mean, there's stuff in Oregon and Washington up north, but
Right.
there's nothing. There's nothing. I mean, I think Chico might be the furthest thing south that you might see a late model.
Mhm.
There's definitely nothing. There was nothing here in Bakersfield for the last few years. There's nothing in Santa Maria. There's nothing in Verona down south. I mean, they're just
Yeah.
And those are awesome cars.
Mhm.
They were awesome cars. But
I remember when they raced them at Bakersfield Speedway, and they didn't have a lot of them, but
Yeah.
I think they had maybe 5 or 6 of them or something like that. And
towards
then,
the end, yeah.
towards the end, and then it slowly went down to like 3, and then none. But I remember, I never raced a late model, but I remember I would go up in the pit stands and I would be watching those late models, just watching how fast they are.
Oh yeah,
Man,
radical.
yeah, that looks so much fun. Like, I want to do that. I never had the chance to or the opportunity to, but if that day ever comes to where I could step foot in a late model, no hesitation, I'm gonna get in one.
Yeah. That's the thing. So like, you're so well rounded that you have that thing like Tony Stewart has, and like all these guys have done so many cool things. Like you've got the drag racing stuff, you've got the the dirt track experience, you got some asphalt experience.
Mhm.
Like having that well rounded experience and all that racing. I mean, you probably could just go like go to the Dream, the what is it, 100 or something like that in
Mhm.
Eldora,
Yeah.
whatever it is, the big Dream,
Right.
Eldora Dream, and like you could probably step in and do it. I really think you probably could. I would bet somebody a large lunch at a drive up winner.
Well, thank
that
you.
you'd be able to get in there and do it
Thank
for
you.
sure.
Yeah, I don't think I would be very. I probably wouldn't be in the top 3 or 4, but I definitely would give a hell. I would try my best.
Yeah. I mean, that's what told Cade too, because I was like, I had no doubt that you could do it, but I didn't know you could like do it. Like
Right.
I was so impressed with that kid when he got in there. First sprint car race at Bakersfield, he did well. I think he finished top 4.
Mhm.
Which first time behind the wheel of a sprint car. He ran midgets, but fair. He won a championship in the midgets too.
Mhm.
He did really good for Kiwi and those guys. But to be able to jump up into the next ranks and like boom,
And just be good
be,
at it
be
right
good at
right
it.
off the bat.
It's like okay. Yeah. I mean, some people once you have the feel of something, you got it.
Mhm.
So you're gonna have to knock off the rust in hot laps here
Yes.
on Saturday.
Yes.
But I mean, I guarantee you're gonna be able to get in there and just no mechanical failure.
Yeah.
Because that's one thing. That's the worst thing for a race car to do is sit. I'm sure it's been sitting in cobwebs now for
Yes.
6 months.
Yes. It's probably been longer than 6 months, honestly. And I'm not proud of the fact that my sport mod's been sitting right there in the shop and just been collecting dust. Because again, my roots are in dirt racing. And I love to dirt race, and it honestly hurts me not to be able to dirt race as much as I used to. Like I said earlier, it was every Saturday, whether it was Santa Maria, Bakersfield, wherever we were racing at. It was almost every Saturday I was at a dirt track, and from going from every Saturday at a dirt track to not very often at all, and it's a pretty big awakening and shocking to go from doing something that you did every weekend and doing what you love, and then to all of a sudden stop. So
Yeah. Well, your dad's been doing a lot more dirt track racing than you have lately. Well, I say lately, the last few years.
yes,
And dude, he can wheel. He can wheel the what is it? Stock car.
stock car, yeah,
That IMCA stock car. I know he loves that thing.
yes,
Loves that thing. I mean, he's one of the worst interviews. I'm going to give you so much crap about that, Roger. One of the worst interviews I could get down there. He's just chill and kick
Yeah.
back and just. He's like, yeah, dude, this thing's not going to 260 miles an hour. I'm just out here having fun.
He is not a camera or a public person. So
I see. That's one thing. It's like he's one guy that I want to. And we're gonna make it happen. We're gonna go no camera, no nothing. Go have some beer
mhm,
and just talk
right.
because I know he's just got to be a hoot.
Oh yeah.
I just know he's got to. So I think we can do that at RC track.
Oh yeah.
Your guys' RC track.
Yes.
So I wanted to talk about that too. Because I mean, we could talk about all kinds of stuff. And I know you like golf.
Yes.
And I'm a golf guy. I started playing golf when I was 4 years old. And
Nice.
I've played golf my whole life.
Yeah.
Well, you see
Yeah.
where we're at.
Yeah.
But so like the RC thing, how'd that happen? Like I saw this pop up, what, 6, 8 months ago.
Mhm.
I saw Tui post something like Cherry Acres, and I was like,
What's this?
what freaking? I was like, what AI like
Yeah.
clickbait is this?
Yep.
And Jimmy was like, no, it's a real thing. He's like, the holders are over. They're making a little track in the backyard and this and that. And I was like, okay, so what is this?
So I don't really know where the idea came from. My dad never really told me where the idea came from. I just remember my dad telling me like, "Hey, I think we're gonna build a dirt oval RC track." I'm like, "Oh, that sounds cool." And honestly, I didn't think he was gonna do it. I was like, "Oh, it's just kind of a hope and a dream," and just I just didn't think he was ever gonna actually move forward with it. And then one day I get a text message and a picture of the crash walls all getting set up and the dirt getting all formed and everything. I'm like, oh shit, he's actually doing it. And I thought he was just joking or not really being serious about it. And so he had Tui, my dad, what's his name? Wyatt. I can't remember his last name, but Wyatt. He's a good friend of my dad's. He did all the dirt work and kind of graded it, and
Yeah.
he did
Oh,
all
I
that.
know. I know why.
Oh, do you? Okay.
Oh yeah.
Well, yeah, I did all that, and then put the C train there for the people to stand on to be able to race, and it's coming together. It's not 100% perfect. I don't know if you went out there and looked
Not
at
yet.
it. Okay.
I've driven by because maybe like 3 months ago, I think I've driven by and I was
Mhm.
like, all right, cool.
Yeah. So it's starting to look more professional now because he painted the C train. He got the wood barriers around the top to where you're not going to fall off and break your neck. He got some nice stairs going up to the C train, and it's super safe for kids now. You're like I said before when it first started. You probably didn't want to send a 5 or 7 year old up there. It's probably not a very smart idea.
Yeah.
But now it's safe. It has a barrier around it and guardrails and things like that. And he got his banners hung on the back wall for Cherry Acres, Holder's Air Conditioning, Frontier Plumbing, 4 Point Contractors, Finish Line Signs. I'm sure he's probably gonna throw some more signs up there eventually, but yeah, it's coming together. So
Awesome,
yeah,
dude.
he's actually in the works and talking about getting truckloads of dirt. Because right now it's just the dirt that was there.
Yeah.
It's full of rocks and leaves, and it's not very good dirt.
Yes.
It's still fun to race on. It's still fun to mess around with. But he's in the works of getting some truckloads of clean dirt, and we're gonna flatten that down, put the clean dirt in there, get that all graded in there, and it's gonna be really nice.
Dude, when I got time, we'll come do a race.
Yes.
I will come do a race. I'll give it the full John Candy Light treatment.
Well, I mean, honestly, when you're ready, we're ready. So, my dad got the sorry, I swallowed something. But my dad got the timing system all installed, so we got lap times. It's ready to go. So obviously some minor things that need to be done, and eventually the dirt. But if you're ready, we're ready. It'll be fun.
Yeah, so I got to run it by the boss, dude.
Yeah.
So the way, well, that's not the way. So my schedule, last year I did 130 something events. This year's like close to 140 events.
Wow.
Between racing, between that and sports and just all the other stuff. That's not even counting the podcasting stuff.
Right.
So it's like 140 events. Probably equates to close to 100 nights. Some of those are double headers and things like that. So my wife puts me on a short leash when it comes to
I get that.
to more things. So I'm thinking like next sports season, I'm probably not going to do as much basketball. I'm not going to do as much football. I don't think I'm doing any football this year. So trying to cut back, but then I see and hear stuff like this. I'm like, I want it to grow because it's not going to take away from our track from Bakersfield RC Raceway.
Yeah.
It's not going to do it. It's a different thing.
I was gonna say it's a completely different.
Yeah.
It's a different style of RC car racing.
But yeah, I don't think it's going to be on the same night, but the same nights of racing. It's
So
the more cars that you can develop in an area, it's just going to pique the interest. Like whatever classes you guys are having and running, like, oh shoot, man, we can't race this week. We can't race oh shoot, let's go to Jimmy's. And it's just gonna like it can build and grow like that. It doesn't. There's no, and I like Jimmy and I were talking. It's like that's awesome, man. Like build it up. It's like they're running because you guys are running tracks, a lot of tracks and stuff, and the low C sprint car stuff. And those are the two main.
So yeah, we have the slash modifieds, the sprint cars, low C sprint cars. What do they call them? The street stocks.
Yep.
We got some street stocks out there. And then we have we try to do like a little rookie class for the kids. Brung what you brung. I don't care what kind of car you got.
Yeah.
And I'm trying to think what other classes. I think that's the only classes that we have out there. But we never actually put on a legit race.
A show.
Yeah, a show. It's mainly just a bunch of buddies and some people that know people, and come on, just come have fun and see how fast you can go around the track. Like we never really put a formal, true like heat race and main events and B mains, and we haven't done that yet. We'd love to do it because we got the timing system ready to go and we're ready for it. It's just the last thing we're really waiting on is going to be that dirt.
So. Yeah. So I mean, we could do that easy. I mean, I've run hundreds of shows for Jimmy and getting that set up and getting the classes set up, and so I'm sure you have the same timing system, the MyLaps and all that stuff. So we could set that up.
Yep.
That'll be fun.
Yeah, I'm ready.
That'd be super fun.
Yep. It'll be cool. It's and once you can come out there, do you just host the races, or do you actually race RC?
I don't race anymore.
Okay.
So I mean, I did for a few years. I did the whole thing, spent sponsored driver and this, that, and the other, and I was pretty hardcore into it. I raced a couple of races. Well, not a couple. I raced one time in North Carolina. And
wow.
Did the whole
for RC cars.
RC
That's
cars.
insane.
Yeah.
I didn't think it gets that serious.
Yeah. With my boy Alan Webster, we went over raced over there. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's some dedication for RC cars.
Yeah. So I'm ate up with it. So
yeah.
This room, instead of production room, it would have been an RC room at one point in time. Right. Whatever hobby I'm doing. So
I will say, racing RC cars, it's honestly just as fun as racing a real race car. I have just as much joy of messing around with these RC cars than I do racing a sport mod.
Yeah.
It's surprisingly like you'd think it's just a little toy car, and like no, like that, like Justin Toohey, that dude is. It's insane to me how much I'm gonna tweak on this and I'm gonna change the setup on this. I'm like, it's a damn RC car, bro. Like you don't gotta do. He's like, no, it matters. And so then obviously my car was at that when I first got it was stock. and I'm going around the track and I'm not going very fast and it's not really setting in the corner very well. And I see Tui around here just making laps and going super fast, and it looks like a true modified going around the corner of Bakersfield Speedway. I'm like, I need to get my car like that. And so now I'm finally catching on, like, okay, spring rates and shock oils and all these different things that these
Oh,
guys
yeah.
do to these cars, and like I didn't think it was that serious into RC car racing. Like, I can understand a sport mod or a modified, changing your spring rates and changing the bar angles and doing the whole thing. And I just never truly thought that an RC car can get that complicated, and
Oh, yeah.
it can.
Yeah, it's wild. It's wild how much, it translates too. It translates from RC racing to the big car racing when it comes to like setups and springs, that do different things in different corners.
hmm
It does, you know, the same thing. It translates, even though they're like independent rear suspension instead of the 4-link suspension, 3-link suspension. It's wild.
Yes.
Like, you win the races on the bench.
Yep.
Same thing with big car racing. You win them in the shop.
Yep. Tinkering.
Maintenance
Yep.
and then setups and like just knowing how stuff works and keeping everything free.
Yep.
It's the same thing across the board with any type of racing. Like
Right.
RC racing is the same way.
Oh yeah. So when I was watching Tui going around the track and seeing how fast his car and how smooth it was and how great it entered the corner, and I went like this. I grabbed my car, I set it on his little table. I said, "Do whatever you did to that car to this car, because I need it."
Yeah. And there's no worse feeling than getting beat by your freaking buddies
Right.
in the RC at the RC track. It's
Right.
like, oh my God. That's why I loved it so much.
A lot
I
of shit
loved it.
talking.
Oh my God. Oh my God. And I love that. There's nothing more I love than an ice cold beverage and talking.
Yep.
So
Yep. Yeah, it's definitely fun, and we go out there every Wednesday and every Friday or Saturday. It just depends on what we got going over the weekend. But for sure every Wednesday and either Friday or Saturday, pretty much every week, unless I'm back east racing or I'm too busy at work or something. But other than that, it's every Wednesday after work and Friday around 5:30 or Saturday around 5:30.
sweet. So if somebody wants to like check that out, just Facebook, Instagram, just
Yeah.
social media. Is there a phone number or
No phone number or anything like
so
that.
just check it out?
Yeah.
That's the best way to do it. So, social
Honestly,
media.
honestly, the best way is drive by on a Wednesday around 5:30.
You see lights.
And drive by on Friday or Saturday around 5:30. And if you see everyone in there, come strolling in and come check it out.
Yeah. So I'm gonna try to check it out next week on a Wednesday. That'd be probably my best bet if I'm not podcasting.
Right.
So I'll at least get out there and come check it out. Then, dude, I'm gonna get hooked.
Yeah.
Like if I grab a car and do it, then that's in that environment of kicking back and not having to worry about none of this stuff or doing anything.
Yep. That's just what we do. We literally will get an ice chest. We'll throw a couple beers in it, some sodas, and we'll hang out on a Wednesday. We'll hang out from 5:30 to maybe 9 o'clock at night. On a Friday or Saturday, we'll hang out from 5:30 till 1 o'clock in the morning. So
Nice. Nice. That's awesome. Well, put it on the calendar.
Yep.
As long as my wife doesn't find out, just don't tell her I'm doing that. I'm gonna tell her like, oh, I'm working late. I gotta do something over here.
Doing some overtime.
She doesn't watch these, so we'll be fine. She's not gonna see this. So, but no, that's cool. That's awesome. But I'm glad you guys are doing that. To more cars, more the merrier.
Yes.
More
I
the
agree.
merrier. Bring it on.
Yep.
Bring it on. That's all I need. One more thing to do. Bring it on.
Yep. Yep. And that's the same with us. Our life is so hectic and so busy with business and drag racing and dirt racing and RC cars and doing things that my kids want to do, and trying to keep my wife happy. I can completely relate to what you're saying with your wife. There was a time, luckily we're going to homeschool my kids this coming year. So they're going to be able to go to majority, if not all, of my drag racing races. But for the last 2-3 years, most of the time my wife and kids would have to stay home because my kids were in preschool and kindergarten and first grade. And so during that time, for the last couple of years that they were in school, to take them out for weeks at a time, and we were racing for the most part once a month, once every month and a half.
Yeah.
And to pull them out of school that amount of time,
It's basically for the week.
yeah, pretty much. And honestly, I will say, so there's this was last year, I think it was. Yeah, I think it was last year. We get a phone call from the school that they go to, and they said, hey, the principal would like to speak to you guys about Bristol and Beckham. And we're like, okay, maybe it's about grades or something. I don't know. And so we come strolling in, and he goes, yeah, come into my office, closes the door, sits us down. And he goes, can I ask you a question? I'm like, yeah. Why is your son missing so many days of school? And I go, well, I race cars, I travel the country, and I love to bring my wife and kids with me. And he goes, do you realize how many days he's missed this year? And I go, no. And he goes, he's missed 34 days. And I go, over a month. And he goes, that's a month worth of time of school that he missed out of how many months did kids go to school? I don't even remember.
I think it's 9 or 8.
9. So
8 months.
yeah,
Yeah.
1 full month. So you're losing a full month of school by, him going to the races with me. And he told me, he goes, and they were going to a Christian private school. And they told me, like, if you continue this, they're not going to be able to go to school here. Like, we have to have them here. And so after the school year ended, me and my wife sat down and, really talked about it, and we're like, I think the best bet, because I hate the fact that my wife and kids would have to stay home,
Mhm.
and I'm out gone for a week or however long it is. And obviously my kids miss me, my wife miss me. My wife is stressed out to no end, taking care of 3 boys all by herself, and trying to cook dinner and clean the house, and
Juggle it all.
yeah,
Yeah.
juggle it all. And then plus my wife loves to come watch me race. My kids love to watch me race. It really devastates them when they can't go. So with this homeschooling situation, they'll be able to go to most, if not all the races. So that'll be really nice.
That's awesome. Yeah. I mean, just adapt and overcome.
Mm-hmm.
Adapt and overcome, man. That's awesome. Yeah. So their school system now, did you know it's like a year-round thing now that it's homeschool, or is it
No, so
they're still on a program and a
yeah, so they'll go
regiment?
they'll go 2 days a week to a physical school,
Okay.
and
Yeah.
then 3 days a week at home.
Okay.
And luckily we went through the orientation, and they told us, I told them like my situation of what I do and how long I'm gone all the time, and they said that's perfect for this program, because all you have to do is pre-plan ahead of time, tell us when the kids are going to be gone. We'll gather all their work and everything that they need. They bring it with them. They do their work while they're out there. When you get back into town, you come back to school, you turn in your stuff, and you repeat the cycle.
Perfect.
So yeah.
Rinse and repeat.
Mm-hmm.
Awesome. That's cool. Man, how long we been going, dude?
I don't know.
Hour and 40 minutes.
Has it really?
Yeah.
It's been that long?
Yeah.
Holy crap! It feels like 20 minutes.
Yeah. Dude, this room's a time warp. It's a time warp, man. Like we were in here, who was it? It was Billy.
Yeah.
We went 3.5 hours.
Was it 3.5 hours?
I think it was like 3.5 hours.
Wow.
And it was just, but he wanted to get a lot off his chest.
Yeah.
And I appreciate that. And I loved it so much that he came in and just did it here.
Yeah.
And just let so much out.
Mhm.
And there's so much stuff I still got to do with that podcast, and like build it up and
Mhm.
do different cuts and things and stuff like that with that. But it's a time warp.
Oh yeah.
It happens like you're like, what? Hour and 45 minutes?
Yeah.
So
That's crazy.
yeah, man. But I mean, we got, for people that don't know you and didn't know you before this, hopefully they got a really good picture of, you guys are so family centric. You guys are so awesome. Your
Thank you.
family's awesome. You guys do so many great things. I mean, not even, I kind of wanted to touch on like some of the sponsorship stuff that you guys do for a lot of people. Like you guys sponsor a lot of stuff and raise a lot of money for a lot of different things.
Yeah.
And it's just, it's really awesome. I'm so happy that you came on and
Thank you.
we were able to
I'm
get some of that out for other people.
Yeah. Thank you
It's-
for having me too, as well. It's honestly really cool to do this. So
Yeah. It's, I mean, nobody's really doing like this kind of thing right here in Bakersfield right now.
No.
I mean, hopefully people catch on and be like, man, we can do something like this. And like you were saying with your guys' podcast,
Mhm.
like with bringing manufacturers in and doing stuff like that. When you're in that industry, like it's cool. Like even if you get 100 people watch it, I mean,
that's 100 people that you didn't have originally. So.
yeah. So like this thing's reaching. We'll get, I don't know, 3,000, 4,000 people to just see this.
Right.
So I mean, just getting eyes on the thing, it's so cool. Do it. Do the podcast. If you see that you're getting 6 views, still do it.
Mm-hmm.
Like freaking do it. I'll help you
Thank you.
with whatever I can help you with.
Yeah.
I mean, this is the first time I really got to sit down and like talk to you.
Yeah.
Like you're,
Yeah, I've known who you were for the longest time.
Yeah.
We never really hung out or really, really got to know each other. And
Yeah.
this is nice. I really enjoy speaking with you. So
yeah. So that's gonna change. We're gonna hang out. We're gonna
Yep.
check out the RC track,
Yep.
dude.
Yep. And if you ever can, I know it's probably impossible. If you can ever go to a drag race back east, it is one of the funnest experiences you'll ever feel.
I'll have to figure that out.
Yeah.
I'll have to figure that out. I'll tell my wife we're gonna go vacation Florida.
Yeah.
But it's gonna be on this weekend.
Yep. And we're gonna be at a dragster.
Yeah. She'll be like, yeah, right, homie.
What about the beach? No, I don't know about that.
She's like, all right, Disneyland. I'll go to my Disneyland over here.
Yep. So, I don't think we race it anymore because now that I'm racing Pro Mod. But one thing that I loved about one of the races we used to go to all the time, it was in Orlando, Florida. It was for one of the drag radio races, and it was probably one of not my favorite race to go to, but one of my favorite races to go to, because we would go to Disney World with my sister because my sister is special needs and she loves Mickey Mouse and all the Disney characters and everything. So we try to make it an effort to when we go to that race to come a little bit early and go to Disney World to let her enjoy herself.
Couple
and
days
then,
up there.
Yep,
Yeah.
and then me and my dad will go enjoy ourselves at the racetrack. So that was unfortunately we don't go to that race anymore because of the series that we run now. But that was really fun and exciting to see my sister get to enjoy herself because she's like I said, she's special needs. She don't really do much. She kind of hangs out at home and does her own thing, and she don't really have any hobbies or anything like that. So it's really nice to see my sister get out and do something that she likes to do.
Awesome.
So,
Awesome.
yeah.
That's cool, man. Well, maybe I'll make that race.
Yeah. Well, like I said, we don't race it anymore, but I wish we still did. That was definitely a fun time.
So your schedule, though, if somebody wants to check out your schedule, do you guys have a set series that you're going to race with, or?
So to be honest, this year our schedule is kind of all over the place.
Okay.
We don't really have a set schedule. Like we had a possibility of racing in July for IHRA, but unfortunately my tuner's not going to be able to make it. So we had to kind of cancel that race.
Yeah.
But so 2026, our schedule is kind of just hit and miss and just run whenever we can run and whenever we have the time to do it. But 2027, we're going to have a locked in legit schedule of, okay, these are the series that we're running. These are the exact races that we're running. And this is where we're going to be. If you want to watch us, we're going to be here.
Awesome.
Like I said, this year is kind of all over the place, mainly because we didn't know if we were going to run PDRA, IHRA, the winter series. There's a bunch of different series that we have options to run. And so we're kind of dabbling in all of them right now.
Yep.
And just kind of see, okay, which is the one.
Put out your feelers.
Put out the feelers and see which one is it the one that we're going to lock into and really, try to run for a championship or something like that.
Nice. Because there's a lot that goes into it. I mean, the people that run it, how it's ran, the whole thing, and just, you don't just show up to a track and just, okay, do your thing.
Mhm.
It's everything that goes with it.
Yes.
So, that's why, we've got such great feedback at Santa Maria Speedway with what we're doing. It's like just everything. The racing is still the racing,
Mhm.
still good racing, but just everything that's involved with it,
Yeah.
all the fan interactions, all the goodies.
I haven't been back to Santa Maria since all the changes and everything that I've seen on Facebook.
Yeah.
But everything I've seen on Facebook, it is truly amazing to see how many fans are showing up to those races.
It's unreal.
Towards the end of the old Bakersfield Speedway, I remember looking up in the stands and just seeing every weekend get smaller and smaller and smaller. And I haven't raced the KCRP dirt track in a little while, so I don't really know what the fan count is lately there. Obviously, I'm going to find out this coming Saturday.
Hopefully, it's great.
Yeah.
Hopefully, it's really good. I mean, same thing. Like when I made the move, it's like there was still no ill will, no ill intentions of anything with Bakersfield, and especially with Scott Schweitzer.
Right.
Scott's my boy.
Yes.
That's my boy. So if any rumor ever gets out there that Candy and Scott or Candy and whatever Bakersfield Speed, no, that's just not true.
Yeah.
He's family to me. Always be family to me, and that I want the track to succeed because the same thing. More is more. More is more. If Bakersfield succeeds, it has 15 cars, 20 cars, 30 cars here. That's just more that'll go everywhere else.
Yep. And
So-
that's one reason why my dad has sponsored KCRP and the old Bakersfield Speedway for so many years is, with us being in the racing community, we want to see the racing community in this town succeed and grow and get more fans in the seats. And because without fans, there's no racetrack.
Yeah, there's no racetrack. I mean, it proved true with the 80-year-old Bakersfield Speedway, which I still want to cry over.
Yeah, I do too.
I saw it get knocking down this week, and I saw my booth. Not my booth, that's Mike's booth.
Right.
I got to be in that booth for almost the last 10 years. I'm like, man, it goes away. I'm like,
Yep.
pulls at the heartstrings.
It did. Me too. I seen the videos of on Facebook and all the posts of everyone crying about it, and I didn't make no post about it, but internally I'm saddened of what I'm seeing there. It really does suck, and I wish that wouldn't have happened. I knew it was a matter of time. But I just wish I can go around that track one more time. That was my absolute favorite track to ever race on.
Yeah. Well, you could still go over there with weeds.
Right. Yeah.
I think there's a little bit of a rough spot off of 4.
Right. Yeah.
Maybe you could shake down the car on Saturday morning right there at the track one last time.
Yep.
Just go around the excavators and all the stuff. And
Yeah.
maybe there might be a couple of bodies in the weeds from straightaway. It's kind of been a little horror spot over there right now for the last year or so. But But anyway, dude, thank you so much once again.
Yeah.
Coming on here, doing this. We'll do it again.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's a lot more to be said. We're gonna be talking about your kids when they come up, and we're seeing them win races and do all that stuff. And yeah, man, this was a lot of fun.
Yeah, me too. I really appreciate you letting me be here and talk about my life and talk about my racing and talk about my business or I shouldn't say my business, my parents'
No,
business.
your business, man. It's the business holders. So guys, dude, go make sure you follow their stuff. Holders, heating and air conditioning, Frontier Plumbing, Holders Motorsports, all that stuff. Support Brylon, all the stuff he's doing. Man, he's doing great stuff, and we'll see him at a track somewhere around the country.
Yes, sir. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Right on. Thanks, brother.
All right.
Boom.
Yo, yo, yo. Lights on, cameras locked, let's roll. Whoa, whoa. Racetrack kings out of control. Whoa, whoa. Speed so clean and the crowd go wild. John Candy Live, we bring that style. We race, no brakes, that's right. Yeah. John Candy Live, keep the finish line bright. Yeah. Fast lane dreams, we